Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
You can put it on the board! Yes!
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all natural, dry-aged USDA prime Angus and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all those gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever have as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. All right, welcome in everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast in select markets, of course. Everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Wild Charter, and independent cable affiliates in select markets, as well as Hotel TV where applicable. And, of course, on Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Check out Chicago Food Favorites, a fun group. Talk about your favorite foods, your favorite restaurants, your favorite recipes. Make some friends, have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. All right. And by the way, our friends over at Vacation Buddies are giving away a couple of nights right here in Las Vegas, Orlando, Florida, or Branson, Missouri, if you know the answer to a very simple trivia question. If you know the answer, call the number I give you right afterwards and pick up your 2 free nights in Vegas, Orlando, or Branson. Here's the question. On the National Lampoon movies, those ones with Chevy Chase and his wife and kids and Rusty and Audrey and so forth. Okay, what is their last name? It's a very popular last name in this segment of, or this group of movies for National Lampoons. Is it A, the Smith family, B, the Jones family, or C, the Griswold family? If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with this station, but they want to give you a couple of nights right here in Vegas, Orlando, Florida, or Branson, Missouri. If you know the answer to that simple trivia question, 888-576-5777. Call now. All right. Now that we got all that out of the way, we also have Mike McDonald talking about Sam Darnold and why Sam Darnold's 3 touchdown passes in the NFC title win. So it's the Seattle Seahawks representing the NFC. And frankly, apparently a lot of people say this, he just shut a lot of people up. Now, if you didn't watch, we'll give you a quick recap on this, and I'll tell you what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and talk about something else that relates to this first, maybe a little bit of summary, and then we'll get to the Sam Darnold thing, because now, according to NFL.com and everybody else, we have a lot of things that happen in this game, and it was very entertaining. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but I got to tell you, folks, the game was very entertaining. There was a lot of things that were, I would say, fairly predictable. Then there were things that were really unpredictable. Now, Sam Darnold, he really brought the Seahawks this Super Bowl 60 opportunity. No turnovers. This time for Sam Darnold, nothing. Plagued by giveaways in previous games against the Rams. Well, guess what? Sam was nearly flawless, dicing up LA's defense time after time. Darnold fearlessly stood in and surveyed, finding open targets and left, right, and center. So Sam was 25 of 36 for 346 and 3 touchdowns. That's not that bad. Actually, those are really good numbers, especially in an NFC title game, which really they should have played the Bears instead of the Rams. So it's another story for another time. Troubled by pressure, they say. All 3 touchdown passes came against pressure, making him the first quarterback with a trio of touchdown passes under pressure in a playoff game in the next-gen stats era, basically since 2016. Now, Darnold made heavy plays on key downs. I mean, he really made these amazing plays. You call him heavy, you can call him heady, you can call him skilled, you can call him impulsive, whatever you want to call him. This guy showed up, and you gotta like that. It doesn't matter what team you're rooting for. You're actually rooting for great performances. So you think about it. I mean, look, the guy just was constantly moving the sticks. Seattle was 7 for 13 on third downs. That's not that bad, folks. And, of course, which proved to be really the thing that tilted this into the Seahawks' favor. So, I mean, think about the biggest moments. The Seahawks coaching staff didn't even fear the idea of putting the ball in Sam's hands. So, of course, with the ball, late Seattle let Darnold throw several times on the final drive instead of simply running the ball into a stacked box. I mean, who wants to do that? Then the ball's going to get ripped out. I mean, look, it paid off. With Seattle generating 4 first downs, basically to milk the clock down, it was the best performance of Sam's season. I would argue, and I would say it's one of the better performances that Sam has had in his career at this point. I mean, look, he's been in some bad systems, but this is a good system. He's in the right situation, I think, right now. And you look at Darnold's roller coaster career. I mean, look, Jets, Carolina Panthers, I mean, a couple of bad systems. He goes to Minnesota, he gets a chance to really show what he could do, and he did really well over there, too, by the way, in case you're not knowing what he did. I mean, the guy won 14 games with the Minnesota Vikings. And what happened with Minnesota this year? Oh, I think Minnesota came in last place. That's right. They came in last place in the NFC North. And they thought J.J. McCarthy was going to be the guy. Well, maybe he is. But Sam Darnold was clearly the guy. But everybody seems to be selling this guy short because early in his career, he was stuck in a bad system with the Jets and, of course, with the Carolina Panthers. Nonetheless, Matthew Stafford on the other side of the ball, he played pretty damn well. Another MVP candidate, etc. and so forth. We all know that. And look, the Rams certainly moved the ball against the NFL's number 1 defense. But then again, they say they're the number 1 defense, or was it the Houston Texans? I would say they're the number 1 defense remaining because I think the Houston Texans had the best numbers overall in the National Football League. Nonetheless, NFL.com says the number 1 defense. But they say Stafford led a Rams offense that really piled up 479 total yards and 26 first downs. And Stafford was really good in the grand scheme of things. He really was. I mean, look, he was throwing frozen ropes left, right, and center. Stafford finished 22 of 35 for 374. So he passed for more yards than Sam Darnold, but Sam Darnold was clearly more efficient. Yes, they both had 3 touchdowns. So you have 22 of 35 for 374 versus 25 of 36 for 346. What's interesting between these two teams is that they were literally separated. I mean, look, they split the season series. They were separated by 1 yard in the total yards for on either side, and they were separated by 1 point in total points scored. I mean, this is about as even as it gets, folks. I mean, truly. That's why it was such a good game. But nonetheless, when you look at all the yards generated, look, LA just couldn't finish enough drives and really cash in. And the Rams settled for 2 early field goals. And remember, there's also some missed field goals in other games too. But in this one featured a muffed, fumbled punt. That's right, a punt return that was basically muffed by their trusty kickoff returner, punt returner, which turned into a scoring opportunity. But nonetheless, look, Matthew Stafford played very well, but he couldn't sometimes get the ball into the end zone. And of course, they even turned it over on downs as well on another attempt. And it was on a 4th and 3. I think it was from the 4-yard line. Nonetheless, with the defense unable to make a quick stop, LA's offense couldn't complete the road to Comebackville. And that's really what happened. So you look at Jackson Smith Njigba, we'll call him JSN. This guy, however he does it, man, it just seems like this dude is always open. He's always open. And he's NFL's leading receiver, of course. This guy has been a disaster for defenders. Every game, seemingly. This guy gets open, left, right, and center. I don't know how he does it. I watched him over and over. Boy, I'm glad I got a bunch of his rookie cards. But I have to tell you, this guy was the right guy to go to. Look, he caught 10 for 153 and did score a touchdown. And pivotal stuff, too. And the same kind of stuff that Puka Nacua does. But this guy just did it better than everybody else all year. I mean, look, seemingly every pivotal play, Darnold looked for this guy, and frankly, I don't blame him. And, of course, he was just constantly open. He was targeted 12 times, and he caught 10 of them. The other 2, well, let's face it, they were uncatchable balls. Otherwise, if it was anywhere near him, one-handed, two-handed, whatever, this guy could have caught it in his face mask. It didn't really matter. So when you look at, really, in the first half alone, he had 115 yards on 7 catches. That's not so bad. And, of course, the go-ahead touchdown, too, late in the second. But it was fitting that on the final drive that Darnold hit him for a big first down to take more time off the clock. And the receiver's ability to generate separation is uncanny. It's probably the only word I can really come up with. Anyway, folks, back here in just a few minutes. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in, well, we'll call it 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on the Sports Circus.
Stop it!
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at
714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100.
Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door. store without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, this segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com. Check them out, folks. All right, welcome back to everybody listening in on all of our radio affiliates, including our friends waking up with us over in the greater Atlanta market, listening in on WDJY 99.1 FM. All those driving in between Columbus, Georgia, Auburn, Alabama, War Eagle, and our friends over in Montgomery listening in on WAUD in the afternoon, or actually the early evening, 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. WAUD, again, that's home of the Atlanta Braves. Thanks for joining us there, up and down the Midwest, out to the West Coast. Everybody driving between sunny Southern California and right here in fabulous Las Vegas. Listening in on Highway Country Radio 101.5 FM and 107.3 FM. That's home of the Vegas Golden Knights, the Raiders. And, of course, the Sports Circus at 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, up and down the West Coast, up to Anchorage, down to Honolulu. CBS Sports 1500 KHKA, that's home of the 49ers, Yankees, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Plus, everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Wild Charter, and independent cable affiliates in select markets. Thanks for doing that. Also, everybody on Hotel TV, where applicable, gaining about 4 million impressions per hour. And Chicago Food Favorites. Check that out, folks. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook, a fun group. Talk about your favorite foods, your favorite restaurants, favorite recipes. Make some friends, have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. All right. And by the way, in case you're just tuning in, at the top of the show, we had a giveaway from Vacation Buddies, giving away a couple of nights right here in Las Vegas, Orlando, Florida, or Branson, Missouri. If you knew the answer to a simple trivia question, if you're just tuning in, I'm going to give it to you again. Call the number right afterwards that I give you and claim your 2 free nights in Vegas, Orlando, Florida, or Branson, Missouri. So, what is the last name of the famous family in all those National Lampoons Vacation and Vegas Vacation and European Vacation and all that other fun stuff, even National Lampoon's Christmas? Is it A, the Smith family? Is it B, the Jones family? Or is it C, the Griswold family? If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with this station, but they want to give you a couple of nights right here in Vegas, Orlando, Florida, or Branson, Missouri. Call 888-576-5777. If you know the answer to that trivia question, call now. All right. Now we've got our Super Bowl matchup, but I'm going over the NFC title game right now. The NFC title game was very entertaining. I got to tell you, folks. It was a good game between two teams that were literally 1 point apart in the two games they played previous to. And they were 1 yard in total yards apart, too. I mean, that's how even these two teams were. Crazy stuff. So I left off with JSN, or Jackson Smith Njigba, who is just one of those guys that, geez, if anything's thrown in his vicinity, he's going to be able to grab it. He's just one of those guys, and he really impacted the game. He basically had 10 receptions for 153 and a touchdown, but it seemed like every time he caught the ball it was at a pivotal time of the game. And so if there was an MVP for this game, I would certainly give it to this guy. Now, nonetheless, if you look at the Seahawks offense and their coordinator, Clint Kubiak, he did a really, really good job of moving JSN around to keep the Rams defense like, what the hell's this guy going? What are they going to do with him now? And look, JSN ran 19 routes wide, 16 from the slot, 1 aligned tight end, and 2 from the backfield. Think about that. So it's like, all right, who's covering this guy? And actually from the backfield, that's where he actually caught his touchdown. So Jason's talent is obviously Kubiak's genius and Darnold's willingness to trust his receiver. And this guy absolutely stepped up at the biggest moments. And as far as the Rams go, I mean, look, the Rams' biggest issues, it's like, what the hell's going on? What's going to happen in this game, in this situation? So it's kind of like they've had one issue that seems to be kind of biting them. And once again, special teams, there it was, weren't really so special for LA coming into the postseason in the first place. In fact, the special teams unit was LA's biggest problem, having cost the club numerous times during the season, blocked punts, missed field goals, whatever the hell it is. And, well, let's face it, the Rams played through the issues in their first 2 postseason games, and they should not have beaten the Bears if it wasn't for what I saw. It sure seemed like a thrown game at the end of it, with Caleb Williams throwing the ball 35 yards downfield to no one in particular. And they only needed 15 yards, being the Chicago Bears, to kick a field goal and win the game. And they should have played in Seattle in this championship game. Nonetheless, it doesn't matter. But this is the kind of problem the Rams have had with their special teams. And let's face it, even trailing by 4, 17-13, early in the third. And the defense was forced to punt. But instead of Stafford and the offense having a chance to retake the lead, nope, disaster struck again. And returner Xavier Smith, who already survived one bobble punt, tripped over, that's right, he tripped over his own feet. That's right. As the ball arrived and he muffed the punt. And of course, they gave the ball in golden scoring opportunity to Seattle. One play later, guess what? Jake Bobo was dancing in the end zone with the ball. Suddenly, Seattle had an 11-point lead. I mean, look, instead of a potential seesaw battle, LA was forced to play catch-up, and it never really recovered from that muffed punt. And so if you say, well, what about the defense? Look, Seattle's D really steps up when they needed them, but they didn't play that great the entire game. So I believe that either team that won last week, either it was the Bears or the Rams, I thought either team could beat Seattle. Seattle is very beatable. Very beatable. If you go back and look at the film, you'll understand it. The stats are one thing, but if you watch the game, there's a lot revealed during the game, nonetheless. So, look, that number 1 ranked defense, according to NFL.com, had its hands full, really, with Stafford and the guys. And every big name for LA seemed to have a day. Stafford threw for 350 plus. Puka Nacua, 9 recepts, 165, 1 touchdown. Devontae Adams, 89 yards and a touchdown. Bunch of big plays. LA rushed for 114 yards. I'm like, Seattle's defense, this looked like just a regular game in the regular season. They didn't look like there was any sense of urgency. And NFL.com says, well, Seattle's D had to overcome boneheaded play by Tarek Woolen. Absolutely. This knucklehead was taunting the Rams coaching staff and the sideline. And it was basically it would have been 4th and 12. But good old Woolen, he goes and taunts the Rams sideline, gets a 15-yard penalty after the play had already basically blown up and they were going to have to punt the ball. So Woolen single-handedly makes this boneheaded play. He wiped out that 4th and 12 on the next play because that was an automatic first down because he has 15 yards. Right? They only needed 12 yards. Well, and guess what? Stafford then threw the ball to who? Puka Nacua. Easy touchdown on the very next play. And so you would have thought Tariq Woolen would have just blew the game up right there for Seattle. And it was just no discipline. Stop being the look at me, I just made a play, look at me guy. Just get back to the huddle, play the game. Stop showing off, stop trying to draw all the attention. And this is a very common issue with professional sports today. Oh, we're going to have a celly, like for a celebration. Oh, we're going to do an end zone dance with the entire team. Or we're going to do a bat flip, and we're going to make sure that everybody watches. We're going to throw the bat like 20 feet in the air after they hit a home run or some crap like that. This is the problem. All this money is saying, okay, now everybody look at me and follow my social media. And so Tarek Woolen did the exact, in my opinion, the exact same thing. And he cost his team dearly. That's right. So instead of getting the ball with a double-digit lead, and things really got messy because of that. But yeah, it was Mike McDonald's defense that actually came alive when they had to. But the reality is, it was Tarek Woolen that almost blew up the entire planet for the Seattle Seahawks. And the defense rescued him. Sam Darnold rescued him. He should have been one of those guys running laps after the game because of mistakes and because of stupidity. But listen, the defense held LA to 1 of 8 on third downs and 1 of 2 on fourth downs. That's pretty damn good. And those key downs really told the story. So Seattle was forcing the Rams to kick field goal attempts, right? And that's what they did. And let's face it, their once forced punt the ball allowed the Seahawks to march for the lead late in the second quarter. And then when the Rams got into a groove offensively, Seattle did stand firm on its doorstep. And that's when it caused that fourth down that the Rams missed when it was 4th and 3, and the Rams could not get it in the end zone. So the turnover on downs right there deep in Seattle's zone. So they did step up, but boneheaded plays really made it bad. And when you look at that whole next-gen stats insight for the Seahawks, Rams, look, Darnold completed 5 of 11 passes under pressure for 102 and a career-high 3 touchdowns. Across Darnold's first 2 games against the Rams this season, he threw 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions under pressure. Now, according to NFL research, Sam Darnold rating 127.8 in the fourth, and Matthew Stafford, it was 4th overall, and Matthew Stafford, 127.6. So he actually outperformed Matthew Stafford. And Stafford had 2 of the 6 highest passer ratings, both these guys actually did, ever among quarterbacks to attempt at least 30 passes in a conference championship game. That's the significance of this next-gen stats. Really exciting game. We're going to step over into the AFC in the next segment. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
Why isn't this an awkward moment?
If I was your mother and you had a drug problem, I'd grab you by the ear and make you call and get help. You can be in treatment tomorrow and start to get clean in 7 days. Follow Mom's advice and call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. Write this number down.
800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. That's 800-814-8628.
Are you or someone you love struggling with an addiction to drugs or alcohol and want to be set free from the chains of addiction? Then call Addiction Helpline America right now to get the help you need. From drug and alcohol addiction to dual diagnosis treatment, we provide a confidential helpline to help people like you get sober and live happy, substance-free lives.
Treatment helped me get my life back. I was so addicted, the only person I could focus on was myself and what I needed. I hit rock bottom and lost everything. Through treatment, I was able to overcome those demons and focus on my family again.
I used until I overdosed and almost died. That was the end of the road for me. After seeking treatment, I now have hope. I learned skills that help me deal with life on life's terms.
800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. That's 800-426-4994.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven, gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number.
800-876-7041. 800-876-7041. 800-876-7041. That's 800-876-7041.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by the Sports Circus. Make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for upcoming guests, a prior guest, or recorded shows, which can be found on Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, iHeart, Stitcher, Deezer, plus a whole bunch of others. Also, check out the partners page. Lots of great partners over there as well. One of our favorites, of course, is Al's Number One Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. Al's Number One Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. If you can't make it over there for some great food, check them out at alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com. All right. That's a personal favorite, so I make sure I give them lots of love. All right. Welcome back to everybody on radio, TV, streaming. You know you are. Chicago Food Favorites. Thanks for joining us over there as well on Facebook. All right. Now, I did want to mention about the whole Sam Darnold. I opened up the top of the show talking about what Mike Macdonald was referring to. Basically, he shut a lot of people up tonight is what he said. And look, essentially, in the biggest game of his career, Sam Darnold delivered his finest performance, truly. Threw for 346, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, etc. And Mike Macdonald had said, being his coach, quote, "You can't talk about the game without talking about our quarterback. I mean, he just shut a lot of people up tonight, so I'm really happy for him," close quote. Now, finding himself in another thrilling shootout, of course, against MVP favorite Matthew Stafford, Darnold, despite managing an oblique injury. And folks, that is hard when it comes to rotating and throwing. That's really hard. When you have a torn oblique or any kind of issue, it is remarkably painful. People are usually on the shelf for a very long time in the grand scheme of things trying to recover. But this guy stepped up. And look, the two quarterbacks kept up in the ante, trading blows in a wild third quarter with Darnold hitting Bobo and Cooper Kupp, the former Ram, for touchdown passes, and Stafford matching scorings with Nakua and Devontae Adams. And look, Macdonald had said, quote, "Every time they went and scored, he came back. Made some big-time throws on third, the 2-minute drive, the 4-minute drive. The guy barely practiced all week. Just really happy for him. He deserves it. And he's been a rock for us the whole year. Just really happy for him," close quote. Again, that was his coach. Now, look, neither team scored in the final quarter, with the Seahawks stopping the Rams on 4th and 4, as I mentioned previously, at the Seattle 6, when just under 5 minutes remaining. And look, Darnold led the Seahawks on an 11-play drive, really eating up 4.5 minutes and helping prevent the Rams from really mounting some kind of a miracle late drive. And Darnold credited the support, of course, to the balance of the team, etc., because he's a good guy. And he even said, quote, "It's great. I feel that support, not only with their words, but with how everyone treats each other in the building. I'm happy to be a part of this team and this group and this coaching staff. I'm really happy to be here. I'm happy to be in this position, and I'm just going to continue to do the best I can do and put this team in a position to win football games," close quote. Now, Darnold's right-hand man, of course, like I said, was JSN. This guy really, really did it. Again, 10 catches, 153, and a touchdown. But it was the idea of finding him in the first place. And now if you ask JSN for Jackson Smith and Jigba, you ask him, and NFL Network actually asked him, they asked him a question, and he said, quote, The work Sam puts in on and off the field in the film room, knowing what to expect, knowing how I can get open and get the ball and change the game. Honestly, I got to give him a lot of credit. I just want to make his job easier and be there for him, be open, get open, and make it easy as possible. It's been a great first year, close quote. So, I mean, look, often doubted, Darnold entered this postseason with the reputation as a journeyman on his 5th team in 8 seasons, and whose first playoff game ended in a 9-sack loss to the Rams last year. So, look, as the guy played with the Jets, as I mentioned, he played with the Panthers, a couple of really bad systems. And let's face it, we'll just say those games really didn't do him any favors. And look, at most, the 4th best quarterback of the 2018 NFL draft. Same draft as Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Baker Mayfield. That's right, Sam Darnold was in there too. But he led 2 different teams to the playoffs and got victories with 2 14-win seasons from 2 different teams in 2 consecutive years. That's pretty exciting. Matter of fact, we're going to give Sam a nice round of applause. And you know what? He deserves it. He's just one of those guys. And I've always viewed him, when he came out of USC, I said, this is a lunch pail guy. He does have some flash, but he is a very ham and egger type of guy. I mean, he'll just get out there and he'll do it. He doesn't seem to complain. He just gets out there, does the work, whatever he's got to do. And now look, this guy's got a chance to win a Super Bowl. Think about that. And he actually made the game 2 years ago as the 49ers backup. But of course, Darnold can't win as a backup. I mean, you could win and get a ring if that were the case, but they didn't even do that. But the fact is now he's the starter. And so this is his team. And he even said, it's unbelievable. Obviously, those are great players, but it's more so about the team, just the hard work that we put in throughout the season, close quote. Now, Darnold answered a lot of questions along the way this season in leading Seattle to that 14-3 record and earning the NFC's top spot. And even while leading in the NFL, that's right, in turnovers this season as well. This guy did not turn the ball over. Look, 6 of his interceptions came against the Rams. So that was what made this whole thing interesting about this game, the NFC Championship game. And Darnold threw 4 INTs in the Week 11 loss to them. Now, in Week 16, in that win, Darnold had 2 more. So you would think that maybe the ghost of games past may be on the horizon, but no, not at all. In fact, no picks, no fumbles. Darnold had twice thrown for more yards than he did in that game in his career, including a 5-touchdown game against Atlanta. But no game has meant more in his career than the win against the Rams. And now, with a couple of impressive playoff wins under his belt, Sam has really turned into the 3rd highest passer rating. That's right, the 3rd best quarterback, 3rd highest passer rating in a single postseason game prior to Super Bowl, behind only Matt Ryan and Patrick Mahomes. That's pretty damn good. In fact, McDonald had joked and said, quote, I'll tell you what, I'm not a quarterback expert, but that's some high-powered quarterbacking going on in that game by number 14 for sure, close quote. Now, Sam's support is really just comes from his offensive teammates, period. I mean, it's not just from there. It comes from the defense. It comes from the special teams. It comes from the ownership all the way down. They like him because he's a good dude. He's not, look at me, one of those guys. Not like doing poses and crazy things after touchdowns. Here, get the ball back to the referee and let's go. And look, after Darnold's 4-interception game earlier this season, Seattle linebacker Ernest Jones really defended Sam and offering some choice words for anyone who was doubting him then and now. In fact, he had said, quote, everything that I said, I stood on it. Sam's a baller. Like I said, man, doubt Sam if you want to. Sam's going to show up every time. That's what we've known, and that's why we stood in that night for him. And I do it all over again, close quote. Look, they like him. They really like him. And let's face it, even Leonard Williams, who really labored alongside Darnold in those ugly days with the Jets, had nothing but, just great words for this guy, citing Sam as the paragon for Seattle's ability to overcome adversity. In fact, he had said, quote, his resilience, his poise, his leadership, he's overcome a lot, still has doubters somehow, and once again, he's proven the doubters wrong, close quote. So if you don't know anything about Sam Darnold, folks, he's just one of those guys, and you kind of root for him, no matter what, because he's not trying to draw a bunch of attention to him. And look, this guy's one win away from a Super Bowl. And really, it'll all come down to, can he beat the Patriots? And I think he can, but I believe there are other powers in this. There are other things going on in this game besides Seattle versus New England, in my opinion. And people say, well, he's 0-4 against those teams in his career, or against that team in his career. All blowout wins and stuff. And that was back in his Jets days. So it almost doesn't even count because now he's got a decent defense. He's got an offense that can score, throwing 1 touchdown and 9 interceptions against them. That doesn't matter. That was then and that was then. I mean, look, during a 4 INT game against the Patriots, well, Darnold was seen on camera that night saying he was seeing ghosts. And, well, that was then. It was playing against the Patriots in, well, let's face it, he was on a really bad Jets team. So, I mean, everybody, if they're put in his position, people are not going to have glowing nights, night in and night out, with the New York Jets. They really should be called the New Jersey Jets because they don't even play in New York, just like the Giants. The only team that plays in New York is the Buffalo Bills, in case you're keeping score. But the reality is, Sam Darnold was just in a bad situation. Now he's in a good situation. Last year he was in a good situation with Minnesota. Minnesota didn't sign him in the long-term gig. And guess what? They finished in the cellar. And where's Sam Darnold? He's going to the Super Bowl. All right, back in a few minutes here on The Circus. Don't go anywhere.
Excellent.
I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. That's 800-298-3173.
Are you or someone you love struggling with an addiction to drugs or alcohol and want to be set free from the chains of addiction? Then call Addiction Helpline America right now to get the help you need. From drug and alcohol addiction to dual diagnosis treatment, we provide a confidential helpline to help people like you get sober and live happy, substance-free lives.
Treatment helped me get my life back. I was so addicted, the only person I could focus on was myself and what I needed. I hit rock bottom and lost everything. Through treatment, I was able to overcome those demons and focus on my family again.
I used until I overdosed and almost died. That was the end of the road for me. After seeking treatment, I now have hope. I learned skills that help me deal with life on life's terms.
800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. That's 800-426-4994.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, make sure you check out the store at thesportscircus.com. Lots of great items over there, all with the clever Sports Circus logo on them. Hats, hoodies, t-shirts, coats, sweatpants, sweatcoats, pillows, blankets, travel mugs, coffee mugs, mouse pads, all kinds of cool items. I've got a whole bunch of them here myself. Check out the store at thesportscircus.com. And of course, these are American-made products too, folks. So again, if you mention my name, Ringmaster Sal, you'll get an extra 10% off of your first order. Check it out, the store at thesportscircus.com. Of course, a shameless plug for the circus. All right, and welcome back to everybody on TV and radio on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. Everybody listening in on our independents as well. Thanks for doing that, as well as on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Wild Charter, and independent cable affiliates. Hotel TV, where applicable. Cable television, where applicable. Hotel TV, yes, same. And by the way, Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Check that out, folks. A fun group. Talk about your favorite foods, your favorite restaurants, favorite recipes. Make some friends have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. All right, over on the AFC side, a little bit more predictable because you had that convenient injury somehow, some way. I'm not really sure how it happened, but Bo Nix allegedly somehow broke his ankle after the win against the Buffalo Bills, almost as if the Buffalo Bills were supposed to be eliminated to, well, I don't know, maybe not get Josh Allen in there. Maybe somebody's got something against the Buffalo Bills because it sure seemed to me that the Bills were on their way to victory when alleged tragedy struck, and the turnover when Cooks caught the ball, and as I saw it, he was down by contact. Magically, the defender from the Patriots somehow pulled the ball away from him and was granted an interception. Even, as I heard, the announcers seemed to be going crazy with that one. Nobody really saw what happened, and then again, Bo Nix bows out somehow in an injury. I like Bo Nix. I just think there's a script. But anyway, so it was the Patriots and Broncos in the championship game over in Denver. They played a game that was, in my opinion, remarkably predictable. Final score 10-7 New England. And NFL.com says, well, the Patriots hang out in brutal conditions to head to Super Bowl 60, whatever the mile-high weather turned out. Blah, blah, blah. It was awful bad. Globe-like conditions, snow globe-like conditions, and Mike Vrabel's defense smothered Denver. Yeah, it was a good defensive battle between the two teams. And look, Jarrett Stidham, everybody was worried about him stepping in for the Broncos. He played okay. The guy hadn't picked up a ball and played in a game really in about 3 years. What did you expect from him? But he played good enough to make the game competitive. But we knew at the end of the day it was going to be the Patriots. Maybe that's what the money wants. I don't really know. I always say follow the money. And they say, well, Drake May played a good game, and yeah, his scrambles basically won the game for the Patriots. Maybe so. But what it did, the game against the Denver Broncos, being the Patriots, it exposed what Seattle can and will likely do to the Patriots. It's a in my opinion, it's a lopsided matchup, meaning the Patriots should lose and they should lose handily. However, the money will decide what happens in the grand scheme of things. I happen to believe the money wants the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. But nonetheless, you can listen to all the rhetoric and all the crap from this outlet, that outlet. Look, we all have access to the same things, whatever. Let's go to the odds. So the odds, the current odds, the opening line odds for Super Bowl 60, played on February 8th, 2026, of course, at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. The Seahawks are generally listed as minus 235 to 250 on the money line. So basically what that means is you got to put up about $250 to win $100. And the Seahawks are generally listed there, while the Patriots are listed at plus 170 to plus 200. So you put up 100 to win 200, plus your original bet back. So you put up that 100 and you get back 300. If the Patriots win. My money goes on the Patriots for this one. And the opening line is 4.5. That half point is really important because if you look at games like 31-27, well, guess what? If you're minus 4.5 and you win 31-27, guess what? You lose by the hook, that extra half a point. So in this particular case, it would be the Patriots would win 31.5 to 31 in the betting world. The over and under total, 46.5. So I think the odds makers, as I see it, are pretty much around that, maybe we'll say 27-21 kind of a game. Because you figure 46.5 points divided by 2 is what? 23.25. So if that's the case, you add 4.5 to one side. You take the 23.25 and you take that, so now you got 27, we'll call it about 28, and you take 4.5 off the other side, which makes it 19-ish. But the reality is you're going to get a game with a spread of somewhere around 26-21. That's really what they're figuring. Maybe a missed 2-point conversion or something like that, or a couple of missed 2-point conversions, whatever the heck it is, or even a safety. Something to drive the numbers in a particular way, because both teams play decent defense, but this is going to be more of a shootout game. So this one probably screams the Patriots an over in this game. And there are a ton of prop bets. Then you have MVP favorites for the game and all this other nonsense. Darnold plus 130, Drake May plus 235, JSN plus 550. And so can you give it to a receiver over his quarterback is the question. Yes, you can. But what about a defensive star? Is this the possibility of seeing a defensive star step up as the MVP? Because that would pay really, really long odds, a really good bet return. So when you look at what the odds are going to be when all these, I don't even know what all the odds are, but just the preliminary ones, it screams to me the early line, this line, if you can get this bet today, tomorrow, or even next week, if you can get 4.5 and New England, it seems to me that you're going to be on the right side of the ledger here. That's how I see it. And so why do you say that? Well, because the games are supposed to be competitive. The money wants it competitive. When I say the money, it's the betting money. And the betting money is remarkably consistent with the final results of games league-wide. League-wide. And you can run all the numbers through pick your favorite number crunching software, and you'll find that the games are very, very close. Let's see if we can do a quick search here. So I've got you here online, and let's find out. Let's just say average NFL game. I'm using that search engine that rhymes with noodle, right? They don't pay me, so I'm not going to say their name. Average NFL game point spread, and we'll say win. Let's see how close. Okay, an average NFL game point spread, and let's do it plus results. Plus results. Let's see if we can get something here. And let's find out against the odds. Let's see if it comes back with something reasonable. So their AI said, based on data for 10 years, home teams are favored in 63% of the games with an average point spread of 5.5 or 5.6, while away favorite averages minus 4.6 points. Favorites cover the spread 47% of the time, win outright but fail to cover 16%, and underdogs win outright 34%, and they win 34% of the games. Now the key scores, 3, 7, 10, and 14, determine 40% of the outcomes. Think about that. Key NFL betting trends, the average point spread, 4 to 5.5. Where are we at with this game? 4.5, right in between. Favorite win rate, outright, 66 to 71% of the time the favorite wins. However, they don't necessarily cover, but only 47% of the time. Home field advantage is one thing. Neither have that. Over and under, total score average around 45 to 46. Where are we with the odds on the total points? 46.5 with this. So this is very consistent with what this search engine, their artificial intelligence says. So they're very much in line. Underdogs win 34% of the time outright. Moneyline favorites, the favorites are at minus 115 or shorter, win roughly 2/3 of the time. Massive favorites, teams favored by 250 to 400, which this one qualifies as 250, win 70 to 80% of the time. But this is at the bottom of the spectrum. So we're talking 250 to 400. This is at 235 to 250. So the bigger question is, what happens on neutral fields, right? So that's the next one. So we have to ask on neutral fields, and let's see if there's any data on it, which I'm sure there is. So based on recent NFL data, the average point spread for neutral field games, such as international games or the Super Bowl, is generally tighter than standard home field games. Why? I'll tell you this much, because the home field is worth 3 points, period. In this place, now there's no home field. Now, if Seattle is minus 4.5 on a neutral field, technically, Seattle is a 7.5 point favorite if they're playing in Seattle. Now, if the game was played in New England, over in Foxborough, then Seattle would be a 1.5 point favorite. But nonetheless, this search engine that rhymes with noodle says, with the home field games often falling in the -1 to -2.5 range for the favorite team, while traditional wisdom once held that home field advantage was worth 3 points, like I just mentioned, that or a neutral adjustment has dropped to roughly 1.75 to 2.4. So they're saying, okay, so instead of 3 points, it's maybe 2.4 points. Whatever, that's in recent seasons. But the average point spread results on neutral fields. So the average spread with home field advantage diminishing, now value closer to about 2 points. Neutral site games often see small spreads, frequently favoring one team by less than a field goal, hence the 2 points. But the actual results, the real cover rate on these, on neutral fields, the betting lines are generally accurate, but favored teams do not always dominate. For example, let's go back, to 2019. Favorites covered in only 43.2% of the games. And the close games, 29% of the NFL games end as close, within 3 points, by the final whistle and the time expired. Now, you also have to consider a whole bunch of other key factors, but at the end of the day, this one screams New England will probably cover in this game. So if you're a betting man or woman, guess what? You just got some free input from the opening line, which is the one that matters the most for the Super Bowl, for Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara, California. And I will be there for it, and maybe I'll see you there. I'm your Ringmaster Sal for the Sports Circus from right here in fabulous Las Vegas. We'll see you in about 23 hours right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.